is up, everyone? And thank you for checking out Don't Say the F Word. We are a pro wrestling and combat sports podcast. We do not use the F word when we talk about professional wrestling. You shouldn't let your friends use it either. It's Wednesday. It's time for our preview AEW Dynamite. And I'm going to ask you guys a question. Who killed WCW? And are they trying to kill AEW next? We're going to answer that and more today on Don't Say the F Word with the big guy Jeremy, illegal brother-in-law Joe, and me, Mark the Monster. But before that, not Starks.
Chilling in the stealth, underground king, I learned from Chad Butler. No, I couldn't be no hero, I'm a bad mother, shut your mouth. Plenty things I pocket out. Also, the travel to this different route. Knowing I can take it in, dish it out. Asking tough questions, don't live without. Had to get it work, couldn't sit and pout. Yeah, be the change that I wanna see. Gotta follow up, I wanna lead. Couldn't listen to the cans, to the nevers. How to get it, I was better. Man of principles, I stand to whoever. Ain't no hold grudges, I want a better endeavors. Ain't no holding grudges, I'm on, kept my blessings. Took time to learn this very vital lesson. Yeah, so please save yourself. Start a business and pay yourself. Keep the lanes off if you know help us go. Build a kingdom in the shadows, killing in the stealth. Please. Keep them lanes off if you know help us well. Building kingdoms in the shadows, killing in the stealth. Please save yourself. I love this record right.
Alright, I have no idea why the illegal brother-in-law Joe is not getting in here. Oh, look at that. See that? It just showed their show off. Oh, The Rock. But his WWE spin on things, right? It's all a conspiracy. Joe, you're here.
Oh, I'm here. Cool.
Yeah. Finally.
Yeah. I'm like, guess I'm not on today. Kudos. I'm here.
Joe.
What's that?
Got a very important question for you, my friend.
All right, let's hear it.
Who killed WCW, man?
I could say a number of people, but
All right, let's rewind a little bit. Let's rewind. Before we talk about who killed WCW, I want to talk about how great WCW once was. Because I feel like I take a lot of heat, Joe. I feel like there's a lot of people who think that I'm an anti-WCW guy. A lot of people think that all I do is shit on Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo and everything that was WCW. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Now, you know that I was a big WCW fan. I wasn't just NWO. I was NWO for life. To be honest, I was such an NWO nerd that, man, I can't believe your sister dated me in high school, let alone married me. I mean, I was the wrestling nerd in high school. That was me.
I would say...
we got Monster Zero checking us out live. Friend of the show. Great combat sports apparel company. Awesome designs.
Yeah. I would say you was probably more... you going back in high school. Woo, shit. You was more... It depended on the topic of the day. What we talk about. What day it was. That's the best thing I could say. I can't really say. It could have been like maybe Wednesday morning you'll be talking about what happened on ECW, or like Friday
Yeah.
if Thunder was still on Friday, if Friday morning Thunder. So yeah, it could go either way.
Yeah, I was the wrestling loser in high school. I was the dude who was just way too obsessed with pro wrestling. No doubt about it, right?
No, I ain't going to doubt that. Nope, no argument there.
Right?
I can see that. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with
And
that.
what was happening on Nitro, like, that was my jam, man. I loved the NWO. Out the gate, everything that happened. And I was watching Nitro when Hall showed up. And hit him with it. Hey, yo,
Nice.
you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here.
Yeah.
I was 15 years old walking around with a toothpick in my mouth, Joe. Maybe 14. Hey, give or take, whatever. I was that guy. Don't be that guy, but I was that guy.
I was that guy when he was regular Ramon, too.
Yeah. But whenever I look at things today, I look back at things historically, yeah, I probably do shit on Old Easy a lot. But that's for things that happen outside of this first episode of Who Killed WCW.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I look at 96. Let's look at, I guess, the first episode of Who Killed WCW focused on a lot of things in 1996. Debut of Hall, debut of Nash, the birth of the NWO. It leaves out a lot. Like, they're talking about WCW as if WCW started whenever Nitro started. Yo, Brick Headstrong is in here. Check us out live. Brick Headstrong is Mark the Monster's personal trainer. For those of you who don't know, I am not the only weightlifter here at Don't Say the F Word. Mark the Monster is also heavy into bodybuilding. A lot of hypertrophy training. Mark the Monster is all about trying to get swole. And Brick Headstrong writes the program that Mark the Monster takes part in. That's why he's always so awake, just full of energy. And that's right, Brick. Happy Reps Day. Every day is Reps Day.
Real day.
But WCW didn't start in 1996.
You gotta think about it. They started it off where it mostly became popular and where it mostly had his rise and downfall. So they ain't gonna start with the 80s version that everybody remembers. They're gonna start with the mid 90s that majority of people will remember. Plus, you gotta think this is like a 5-part series. They're gonna talk about it somewhere like probably in the 3rd or 4th episode about earlier days.
I mean, I would like to think so. I don't know if Vice and The Rock are going to go back to the birthplace of WCW and Jim Crockett Promotions and talk about the transition from NWA to World Championship Wrestling and all the. I don't think that's going to be part of this. I hope it is, but I would be surprised they go down that road.
I do know one thing: the creator, which I did watch when they were on the 83 weeks of Eric Bischoff, they said there are some hidden agendas and lots of surprises that nobody would expect to hear about.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, you think the history books are written by the winners, right, Joe? I mean, that's everything. You look at the Monday Night War DVD that WWE put out, the rise and fall of ECW, and that was all WWE produced material that was written by the people who won the war. So things get told a little differently. This first episode of Who Killed WCW was clearly heavily influenced by WWE because of just the content, the way it's presented. So they talk about a lot of the backstage videos that they did where they had the attacks happen backstage, or Eric Bischoff talking about how they shot the promos for the NWO and was revolutionary to do those single camera shots. It was revolutionary. It was revolutionary in 1993 when Paul Heyman did it in ECW. That's when it was revolutionary. When Bischoff did it with the NWO and WCW in 1996, it had been taking place in a little bingo hall on the south side of Philadelphia for 3 years. They stole that. They didn't create that. That single camera shot going from ringside to backstage and catching all the action with all the boys in the back. That wasn't borrowed from Hill Street Blues like Eric Bischoff wants you to believe. That production of TV was stolen from Paul Heyman and ECW. Period. It wasn't Hill Street Blues.
Yeah, think about it though. At the time, you probably had at least 2 out of 10 people that watched ECW back then. 2 out of 10.
Well, you know who one of those 2 was? One of those 2 was Eric Bischoff because he stole his shit.
There you go.
Apparently, it was me, Bischoff, and Tony Khan watching ECW with some rabbit ear antennas because Eric Bischoff stole the shit and produced it with Ted Turner's money, and is still to this day trying to present it like he invented it, like we don't know. Like, tell me when I'm telling lies, Joe. Tell me when I'm telling lies. That single camera shot, the one they showed in Who Killed WCW, of it following Jimmy Hart backstage to the beatdown happening, and they're presenting it as if that was revolutionary to show the NWO that way. And the WCW and Bischoff were the first ones to produce pro wrestling TV that way. That was done in ECW 3 years before Bischoff did it in WCW.
Look at it like this. There's a lot of things Bischoff took and made popular. Look at that.
There's a lot of things that Bischoff stole and presented them as original ideas.
Yeah. Look at it.
I'm not faulting him for stealing. Yeah. I'm faulting him for lying about stealing. To this day, he still lies about it. He's honest enough to admit, in this document, he admits that he wanted Hall and Nash to present themselves as if they still worked for WWF. But he doesn't admit to stealing Paul Heyman's ideas and the way Paul Heyman produced TV. Why? Why not be honest about that?
It might come out true one day, but right now, he letting the non-ECW guys that didn't watch it know that, hey, I brought this idea up. Look at the camera shot. Just follow.
Yeah.
And then there's you and the rest of the originals that, hey, I remember that. What exact moment happened 3 years before Eric decided to do that. So yeah, that's what it is.
And again, I'm not faulting him for stealing it. Not. I get why he did.
I say this, but you know what? Just tweet Eric Bischoff and tell him, I know you stole it. It was your idea. Just admit it. You're probably respond to me.
I don't think Bischoff's going to respond to me, Joe. I'm certainly not going to tweet him. It's 2024. Who the hell still uses Twitter?
Everybody. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a dumbass platform. That's why we're not there. That's what I'm not. And besides, if I had it, all that would happen, I would just get blocked. That's it. That's all it's bad. Bischoff would just block me.
He'll block you. He'll tell you what he said, and then later on get blocked. But I don't think Eric would be
the day I had a Twitter. Back when I was fighting and stuff, had one, and I think CM Punk blocked me. I offered to fight him. I would have fought him for $300. Dana White to save some money. I would have fought CM Punk. He would have had to have made like $205 though. So I wasn't making $170. Forrest Griffin, UFC Hall of Famer, blocked me.
I remember that one. I heard about that one.
And that was his fault. He was being rude. I was not out of line. Man, I don't know. I'm sure other people probably did too. But just think it's interesting that a lot of what was revolutionary about WCW in '96 happened at Bingo Hall in Philadelphia in 1993, '94, into '95.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, man. Those NWO vignettes when they were happening were so fantastic. Like I loved them. It was great.
Hey, I would say it was that. I would say it was kind of hard back then watching between Monday and Raw because back then I didn't have VCR, so I had to keep flipping back and forth. So that was the hard part.
You weren't doing the nerdy ass Jeremy route of recording Raw and Nitro while flipping back and forth. Have a VCR in the living room and the bedroom, and flipping back and forth on a third TV, and then rewatching all the programs all week long.
No, because at the time VCR wasn't up to date, so it could only record on one channel. And if I flipped it, it would record.
You did it recording the flip.
Yeah.
That's why I had a VCR in the living room and a VCR in the bedroom, Joe.
And that was the thing. It was a debate between my dad, my mom, my sister, and me. And so, since you got a TV in your room, you ain't gonna review the TV while I'm trying to watch something. So I can't win that battle. I can't win that battle. That was the one battle I couldn't win, so had to flip at the right moment when something didn't look good on one. I'd go to another one. So
let me ask you: pre-NWO, were you watching WCW Nitro?
I was.
So prior to the NWO, I'll be honest, like I was directly before the NWO hit in WCW. I wasn't regularly viewing WCW any longer. I would watch WCW and NWA back in the 80s and stuff, in the early 90s. New Sting, new Flair, new The Horseman. But as I look at early 90, late 95 or early 96, I was not regularly following WCW by any means. The occasional stop in and see the, what was Kevin Sullivan's faction? Tip of the tongue.
He had a couple matches. The one with Dean Malenko?
No, it was Kevin Sullivan, the Giant, Jimmy Hart.
Oh, the group. Oh, the group. Damn, I know what you're talking about. Him and Earthquake. They fought Hogan.
Yeah, they terrorized Hulk Hogan. Had Hogan wearing the black and white before the NWO.
Yeah, they fought Hogan. I think Warrior was part of that. And Bruce the Bar BK was known as something else. I forget what it was.
Yeah, whenever he was
and Kamala was another name. He was something else there. Kamala. It was a weird name.
There was the Face of Fear, and it was. Here we go. Let's go to Kevin Sullivan's Wikipedia.
Kevin Sullivan. Earthquake, or whoever you've known back then. I forget what it was. Kamala. And Bruce the Bar BK was something in it. I know that. But he wasn't known as that for the trademark name.
The Dungeon of Doom. Yeah. I mean, you look at what those gimmicks were. You had the Shark, the Butcher, the Zodiac.
That was it. Yeah.
You had all those terrible gimmicks. Then you threw the Giant into the mix, pretending he was Andre's son. Hogan and the Giant, monster truck match on top of a building, all that pre-NWO shit. That who was in charge?
Eric Bischoff was trying to come up with some ideas back then, but yeah.
Oh well, don't throw the asterisks on it that he was trying to go. Eric Bischoff was in charge.
He was in charge.
Pre-NWO, Faces of Fear and Dungeon, all that nonsense, corny shit happening. Eric Bischoff was in charge.
He took all the WWE guys, made them at the time, and made them a star. Since their contract was up and left travel that they wanted, a little bit more money. So yeah.
Brings Hogan in, talks about it, and who killed WCW. Brings Hogan in, more pay-per-views a year, gives him creative control.
I think
that's one thing
that's the down.
You do, I guess.
That's what killed him.
You think giving Hogan creative control is a contributing factor to what killed WCW?
I think giving everybody creative control killed WCW.
Well, there's a lot of conversation that the only person who had true creative control was Hogan. Bischoff has said that the idea that Bret had creative control in WWF at the time isn't true. I don't think Hogan having creative control was helpful because of what happened at Starrcade '97. Which they do touch on in the first episode. Spoilers if you guys haven't watched the first episode of Who Killed WCW. But I think that I don't think that was helpful. I think Hogan's creative control was definitely detrimental to the product in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
I guess to get the guy, I understand why you would do it. And Hogan didn't want to have to be told when to do the job like he had to in WWE. So I totally get why Hogan wanted it because, let's face it, he was a selfish performer and was only looking out for Hogan.
And he wanted him to be the number one high-paid wrestler and never lose a match.
And if it wasn't going to work for him, brother, he wasn't going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But
they never had
I think that's one of the cuts that helped bleed WCW out. I definitely think that was a factor as we get, it touched on it in this first episode of Starrcade '97, Sting versus Hogan. Hogan decided if he wasn't comfortable just straight up doing the job for Sting, and Bischoff let that be the case. Bret Hart talks about in this first episode, that Eric Bischoff was just a puppet for Hulk Hogan. I believe that.
I believe it.
I think that Eric Bischoff was just a puppet for a lot of people. I think it's interesting that Eric Bischoff kind of pitches things as if he didn't really have a desire to work in the wrestling business and just kind of stumbled ass backwards into the gig. Because Eric Bischoff was such a mark for being around guys who he thought was cool. Like, he was just... You know the Looney Tunes cartoon with the big bulldog?
Uh-huh.
And then you had the little bulldog
that
wanted to hang out with the big bulldog all the time and acted real tough because he was hanging out with the big bulldog. Eric Bischoff is that little bulldog. He wanted to hang out with all the big bad guy wrestlers, and he wanted to really think that he was cool. And it's just kind of who the guy was. He just gave all the guys who he thought was cool everything, which is kind of like Tony Khan.
I think he was more like Pinky and the Brain. He thought he was the brain, but then everything just blew up in his face, and all the Pinkies got away with it scot-free.
I think so. I just think that a lot of people think that Bischoff was just one good idea. That he was just the NWO and nothing else, and I don't think that. I think there were several good ideas during Bischoff's time. I just think one idea was way better than all the others. So he just leaned into that one idea really, really hard. And I think he had no courage. I don't think he had the courage to tell Hogan no. I don't think he had the courage to tell Hall and Nash no. And I don't think he understood wrestling. Because anyone who understands professional wrestling could have booked Bret Hart in 1997.
I think it more had to do with was in everybody's contract that he couldn't argue with him about whatever's in that contract back then. Because there was lots of things.
He's the one who made the contracts, Joe.
No. That's why I said he probably forgot about what was in.
He's the one who did it.
Yeah. So they probably
those were his contracts to write. He didn't have to give these guys this shit. I mean, I get it. It wasn't his money, so he could write whatever checks he wanted to write. There was an endless supply of cash, but he didn't have to give these guys control when they do these different things. That wasn't necessary. He didn't have to do
that. Yeah. But
before we get into a little bit of a preview of Dynamite tonight, I asked this question, not just who killed WCW, because we're not going to answer that today. Because I didn't answer that in the first episode, I don't think we're going to answer that today. We're talking, 97, but I want to look a little bit ahead. And I said, who killed WCW, and are they trying to do it to AEW? Do you think there's an active subsect of the internet wrestling community, fans, content creators, podcasts, and the like, that actively want AEW to fail? Thumbnail I did was Vince Russo, Kevin Nash, Eric Bischoff. If you take a look at their content, you listen to their content, very negative about AEW.
But
it's interesting. Bischoff
some of the
has been on the show several times, but he has nothing but negative things to say.
I'm just going to say this. Some of the negative things they've been saying, some of it's true. It's what's happening with AEW. Some
absolutely.
Some of it is absolutely true. So I cannot say...
I think I spent the better part of 2023 shitting on AEW. I really think I did. Man. It went through a period where it was very not good. But it was never WCW 2000 not good.
I think it's getting to that little boiling point. It's getting close to it.
You think?
It's going the way. Well, if you look at right now, look how they're doing with the Young Bucks, Okada, and Perry. They're trying to make them like the little NWO slowly, how they be in control. And look how they got...
A lot of people make that comparison, that it's like if you order NWO from Wish, you're getting the Young Bucks and Jack Perry.
Look at, I watch it, and it kind of is starting to form like that. If you watch it carefully, they are starting to act like a miniature NWO. But not like the 80s.
That
not
comparison
like
is like saying that the NWO, you had Rick Rude going up to For Life. Was the NWO just a ripoff of Four Horsemen then? Every faction is not a ripoff of the most popular faction. Sometimes they're just trying to put a faction together. It's hard to not draw those comparisons, though, because nostalgia is a very, very strong drug. And when we see a group of wrestlers getting together, we think faction, especially us. We grew up in the Attitude Era. We immediately think the NWO. don't know. I didn't pick up on those vibes, but I can see where people are drawing the comparison of like taking over the company, but
it's like
they are EVPs.
you know,
That's a real thing.
I would say this: if they throw somebody in the trailer of a truck, then you know they're getting close to it.
They lawn dart.
Long dart. There we go. The long dart. That's it.
I don't think they will do that.
I mean, they do.
But I kind of hope that they do. I would personally like for them to take the Elite right now and just lean hard into the comparison to the NWO. Start shooting your vignettes in neon colors or something. Like, instead of it being black and white like the NWO, do something a little different. You know, the Bullet Club. The Bullet Club was directly ripping off the NWO. And it was so cool. It was so cool.
But they made it better. They made it better. I ain't gonna lie.
I think the Bullet Club is better than the NWO.
Yeah, they made it. The reason why it's better,
longer.
The reason why it's better than the NWO, because the Bullet Club, let's just say the Bullet Club watched the NWO. They monitored how everything worked, but yet they knew where everything would crack at, and they made sure that they did not crack like NWO did, and they all stayed together until it's time for like Prince signed a contract with WWE, bam, gone. AJ signed a contract, bam, kicked out. But they watched it, they made it perfect. It was actually a group that nobody really heard about since it wasn't right.
Sure, we're going to get copyrighted for that.
I heard nothing.
But, man, yeah, the Bullet Club was just really cool. That's the comparison that really, truly works compared to the NWO. I don't know that what the Elite's doing, it's a fair comparison. I get how people can get there, but I don't know that it's fair. Mostly because the Young Bucks and Okada don't come off as cool.
Okay.
Hall and Nash were cool.
But they were tag team too. Remember that? Tag team.
Yeah. I mean,
all they need now,
I don't think there's no wrestling fans out there trying to emulate Okada and the Bucks, and everybody's trying to emulate Hall and Nash.
Only way they look like them is they found a big muscle guy to join their pack. They need a big guy.
They do need a heater. They need a big guy.
Brian Cage.
Should have been Brian Cage. Brian Cage is a guy they could have put with them to come off seeming cool.
Or your buddy Kill Switch might join it.
It's Luchasaurus.
Luchasaurus.
MJF will be on the show tonight, Joe. Did he open the show? Yeah, the Wolf for Professional Wrestling is what they're calling it.
I'll say probably.
I don't understand it.
I'll say probably end the show.
He'll end it?
It'd be better if he.
See if he can pull the ratings all the way through to the end by having MJF be at the end.
Yeah.
We also have the Blackpool Combat Club taking on Magnus, Valador Jr., and a name I can't even begin to say. CMLL folks.
Tonight's the night they break up. Tonight's the breakup for the Bullet Club.
The Bullet Club? You mean Blackpool Combat Club?
Yeah. Blackpool Combat Club, yeah.
You think they're break up the Blackpool Combat Club?
I think it's about to break up.
I think it's probably a good time to do it because, they haven't done shit in about a year. So, I think you can break up Blackpool Combat Club. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
I think that's doable.
Who's in the Blackpool Combat Club?
You got Moxley, you got Claudio, you got Bryan Danielson, and you got Wheeler Yuta.
Okay.
You no longer have the guy from Blackpool.
Yeah.
You don't have William Regal in the mix anymore.
But you look at Claudio. If you look at Claudio the past couple of weeks, with him and Danielson been partners, he just slowly fades away at his matches. So I think if they lose tonight, it's the end. He's gonna attack him.
Think he's gonna be on turns? Claudio turns?
Claudio gonna turn on Danielson, and they're gonna fight at probably next week.
Forbidden Door?
Yeah.
I can see that. I think it's time to split those guys up. Let them start doing some stuff singly. I don't think there's a need for all these 8-man tags all the time. You have Mox with the IWGP heavyweight title. He needs to be focused on that and needs to be putting together some matches that aren't title eliminators and actually be defending that belt.
Yeah. When was the last time you seen them all come out together?
It's been a while, man. It's been a while.
So it's time to say goodbye.
Another match we have announced for tonight, AEW World Championship match.
Yeah.
Swerve Strickland versus Roderick Strong. I think it's a no-brainer that Swerve wins this, right? I don't think there's anyone thinking Swerve can drop this title to Roderick Strong ahead of Swerve facing Will Ospreay at Forbidden Door. My question for you: does the championship get defended in the main event or not? Is Swerve the main event or no?
Swerve gonna be out of the first match.
You know how much I hate that. Like, you of all people know, like, your world title is your main event. Like, I don't give a shit what else is on the card. If it's not Steve Austin or Mike Tyson, your world title, you put your world title in damn main event. You do not open your show with a world title match. You just don't do that. Who does that?
I'm just gonna say this: it's either the opening match or the opening match at 9 o'clock.
Let me ask you, as a fan, does it bother you at all? Because it clearly pisses me off. But does it bother you that they trust Swerve to be the world champion, but they don't trust him to be the main event?
Okay. Here's my thing. Okay. I got the first day he won the belt. I kind of figured they would probably won. I got the first time they did it because, that's when Jack Perry turned on Tony Khan. So I could understand that one. But then as you see it repeating, like, it's like they really don't trust him. Like they just put the title on him just to say, hey, we have our first black champion, and now our first black champion is going to defend the title whenever we feel he fits in the time slot. Not like the main event picture. Now, if it's some odd reason,
you think they just threw it on there so that they could name their first black world champion and get that done?
I mean, look at what happened previous. They all was on the last. They may have came out first talking, but they never came out first fighting. They just came out talking, showing us the belt. Hell, Swerve didn't even have a conversation when he won the belt. He just came out the next day fighting. No celebration, no nothing. He just there, boom. But then said like a 3 to 5 minute speech about winning the belt. That was it.
Yeah,
fireworks.
I think the way they did MJF's title run was a very correct way to do a title run. Your champion doesn't defend a belt every week on TV. Treat it like it's special. You get to face him. You're in its main event. Once they partnered him up with Adam Cole is when I think they ruined MJF's title run, to be honest with you. Not that I didn't like those guys together. I did like them together. But I don't think the title run meant as much once he became partners with Adam Cole, because they were doing all the Ring of Honor tag title stuff, and it just really diluted getting that match with MJF. Your champion needs to be your main event, and he shouldn't be defending the belt every single week. He doesn't. The way they did Roman's title run as tribal chief is how you make a champion matter. You want that money fight, you earn the money fight, and the money fights happen when money fights happen. That's on pay-per-view. Swerve shouldn't be on Dynamite wrestling. Roderick Strong, of all people.
Good girl. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, Roddy's a good talent. I just don't. How's that where you defend your world title?
I would say
We got Paul Venus in our comments here. What's up, Paul? Paul's going to be making his BKFC UK debut here soon. He's going to be putting on a hell of a show. People don't know what they're in for. Got hopefully Paul's still in the comments and correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe I'm remembering this correctly. I think it's 32 K1 fights, 31 knockouts. I believe I got those stats right. And then BKFC is going to be quite interesting. A high level striker, and I don't think people are ready for that.
I just say, as of right now, they really don't know who to have Swerve fight. They just give him any random person. And
do you think the Will Ospreay match is happening too soon?
Yeah.
Should that be held off till Wembley?
I think Will Ospreay match, he shouldn't even get a title just right now. Like, literally, not right now.
He just won one. He's a champion already.
I know. I can understand that title, but not the AEW title right now.
I agree. I don't even understand the point of giving him the international title if you're going to have him face Swerve immediately. Like, why are you putting a belt on the guy if you're going to have him beat for the world title? It doesn't make any sense. How is that how you're booking the show?
Plus, he's only going to be there, once a week since he's living overseas. So,
yeah, he still lives in England. So he's only going to be there for Dynamite. Well, he was just on Collision, though.
Okay.
He just did Collision.
So let's just say he's there Wednesday through Saturday. Maybe, at the most. So he's there. He's home, 3 days out of the week. He's at home. And the other two just flying 16 hours to get to wherever.
Yeah, I don't think we should have gotten to this match so soon. My question for you with this is, who wins at Forbidden Door? If you're making that prediction today, who do you got?
I'm going to say Will Ospreay wins, but DQ. Somebody's going to interrupt the match and cost Will Ospreay. Don't know.
So you think Hangman's going to interfere?
No, somebody that wants Will Ospreay more is going to cost him the match.
Who the hell would that? Oh, Bryan Danielson. Turn Danielson heel on the way out. That makes sense.
So let's just say,
Joe, you got any predictions for Dynamite? Any surprises going to happen? Those are the only matches I see announced. I didn't see anything else announced for the card tonight. So this may be another week where Tony Khan is booking Dynamite right now.
I would say you got the lovely CEO coming out talking for like good 10 minutes. CEO.
Do you think Mercedes opens the show?
I guess so. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They said I seen a report that only 100 and some odd thousand people watched Collision on Saturday night. If you have Mercedes open the show, that's a good way to get people to change the damn channel. Please don't at me in the comments. I'm just saying nobody wants to. She doesn't cut a good promo. If her in charge of her own promos and not somebody writing them, these aren't good promos. We all know I'm going to think it, but whenever Joe admits it, that's when you know it's a shit promo, right?
I try to help out the women's division the best way I can, but there are some I just cannot help.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, did you hear what Dave Meltzer said?
No.
Okay. So, Mercedes and Willow match got a 4.5 rating.
What?
Mercedes versus Willow at the pay-per-view. It got a 4.5.
Why?
Dave Meltzer said it was a good match.
I mean, you watched it. What was your opinion of it?
It was okay match. It was an okay match. But
it was just an okay match?
It was just an okay match, yes. But you know what's funny? There was a list of matches that this match beat. So it beat.
I can only imagine what it beat.
It beat Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
How the hell is that possible?
It beat Stone Cold versus Bret the Hitman Hart at WrestleMania. It beat Bret Hart versus.
So he gave that match more stars than Austin Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13 submission match.
Angle versus Shawn.
That opinion completely just discredits Dave Meltzer 100%. Like, as much as I've discredited him in the past, that completely makes his opinion worthless.
No, because it was on. Okay, so I watched the Eric Bischoff, the 83 weeks, and they was rating, talking about that match, how Dave Meltzer rated it, and then one of his colleagues had a list of matches that outbeat, and them are some of them that's on it.
And people think that I constantly do nothing but disagree with Eric Bischoff. When it comes to Dave Meltzer, I almost always agree with Eric Bischoff.
Yes. Yes.
Eric Bischoff may be a dipshit, but Dave Meltzer is a dippity doo-dah dipshit. That's the next t-shirt. Dave Meltzer's a dippity doo-dah dipshit.
Yeah, and the list went on and on how many that match beat.
Dude, that's unbelievable. What a shitty opinion to have.
And Undertaker versus Mankind at that Bad Blood pay-per-view. Not the Hell in a Cell one, but the Bad Blood, the one after that.
Oh,
In Your House.
The In Your House they did?
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't Bad Blood. In Your House, Bad Blood. That was Taker, Sean, Hell in a Cell. Taker, Mankind, the In Your House was like 2 before that. Or 1 before that.
Yeah, I forget one it was.
It may have been 1 before that. I can't remember what the tagline was for that In Your House, though. It wasn't Buried Alive. Because they had the Boiler Room Brawl match at SummerSlam in Cleveland, followed by the In Your House. Then was In Your House Bad Blood against Shawn. And that was Hell in a Cell. I can't remember what that In Your House was.
I can't remember either. But that's one of them.
Interesting. I have no predictions for Dynamite this week. I don't think they're going to have Swerve main event, and that bums me out. I don't know what to think MJF is going to do this promo, what his first order of business will be since his return.
I know.
I hope he just goes full clip heel, and we're not trying to do MJF as a babyface, because that's run its course. I need heel MJF.
I know what's going to be.
What you got?
MJF is going to interfere with Swerve freaking Roddy Strong because MJF is going to go after everybody in the Undisputed Era Kingdom.
I don't think so, man. I really don't think we're going to get MJF Adam Cole feud. I don't think they're going to play that game. I think they're just going to let that die, and they should. I'm going to make one prediction.
Okay.
I actually changed my mind. I'm going to make a prediction, Joe, and I'm going to bring this in here. I'm going to get this real nice and focused on me. This prediction's more of a plea. For the love of God, book Enzo in this Jericho thing. Hook did not come out of this Jericho thing better by any means. Everybody's saying Hook needs to go to NXT. Hook ain't the second coming. Hook ain't Taz. He's not the human suplex machine. He's not gonna be. He's a meme. His peak was before he ever wrestled and people were chanting "Send Hook." That was the moment to capitalize. No one's salvaging this. Take a look at NXT. Look at Brian Pillman Jr. They didn't salvage the situation. But you have an opportunity to put Enzo on your TV. Put Enzo on the damn show. Put him with Jericho and Big Cass or Big Bill or Boot in the Ass, whatever the hell his name is this week. Put Enzo with that group. Yeah, put Enzo with Big Bill and Jericho. So that way, whenever you break the group up, you have Enzo cutting promos on Chris Jericho, and the shit's going to be gold. People are going to at least be talking about your show. People are going to be watching it on YouTube for Enzo's promos, because I still watch Enzo's promos from 2016. Go to all the fan sites that are putting them up there. Go to WWE's YouTube channel. Look at the views that it has. Look at the comments and see how recent the comments are, and tell me Enzo's not a draw.
Okay.
Enzo will help the ratings. That's facts.
All right. I'll look at that when I get done.
Yeah, go to YouTube. Take a look, Joe. Tell me what you find, and we'll cover that later on in the week. What Joe finds about how recent some of these comments are. People clamoring for Enzo Amore on the mic on a wrestling show. Stop letting him waste these years on the indies. Put him on TV.
Okay, this is what I'll do. I'll look it up when I get off this with you. And I'll tell you what this at. And then the following next show, I'll tell you where it's at that day. Where it's at. About Enzo.
That sounds good to me. I think that's fair. See what that growth is. See what happens. I think those are good predictions for Dynamite Tonight Show. I think we uncovered a lot about who killed WCW and if they're trying to kill AEW.
I say AEW got a while for it to get killed.
They ain't never going to die. I think it's going to have to circle back and keep growing.
Yeah. They got to 2027 Mox's contract is up, so they should be good for now.
There you go. So it's sad with that. Right. Thank you, everyone who checked us out live on Instagram. If you didn't check us out live on Instagram and you're checking us out on Spotify, YouTube, YouTube Music, wherever you're checking us out, thank you. But make sure you follow us on Instagram so you can catch the live shows and whatever music it is that I decide to play that YouTube won't let me play, even though the artists tell me it's cool to play it.
There you go.
And with that, maybe we'll just go out with some non-starters.
Wait, before we go.
Ooh, before we go.
Bubble of the night.
We got bubbles?
Bubble of the night.
That's a lot of bubbles, Joe.
You tried.
Wayne's off you, help us well. Feel the kingdom in the shadows, killing in the stealth. Underground King Elder from Chad Butler. No, I couldn't be no hero, I'm a bad mother, shut your mouth. Live from the honeycomb, hideout, bugging out. Learn from Tupac, clean the things I plugged it out. Also, over travel to visit the route. Get it out.